Hi everyone, welcome back to the Archer and Olive channel. My name is Gracie and I'm from the Archer and Olive Ambassadors team. In my video today, I'm going to be taking you on a little tour of my reading journal as well as adding in a couple of new entries to show you how I do it. I'm a really big reader, but before this year, I tracked all of my reading just on Goodreads, the app. But because I am a primarily audiobook listener when it comes to books, I thought it would be cool to have some sort of physical record of everything that I read, especially because I don't own a lot of the books that I've read. So this is my first year actually using a reading journal, and I had so much fun setting it up and deciding what spreads I was going to include in it. So I'm going to share with you the way that I set up my journal. This notebook is actually a B6 notebook from Archer and Olive, and I feel like it's the perfect size for a project like this. It's small, thin, you can slip it into your bag, but the pages are the perfect size for book entries where you can write a little review or a synopsis of the book or add any other information that you want. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the Archer and Olive channel for more ideas and inspiration. And with that, I'll take you over to my desk to show you a little tour of my journal, and then we'll add in a couple of entries. Okay, so here we are at my desk, and this is my current reading journal. Like I said, this is a B6 notebook from Archer and Olive, and I just love this holographic finish on the front. It's so pretty. So I will show you my little setup for my reading journal. So on the first page here, I just have an opening spread that is a little reading log. This is really just my opening page where I'm going to be writing like the dates of which I use this notebook. So I'm not really intending for this to be just a 2025 thing. I'm going to use it until all of the pages are filled, and then I'll switch to a new one. So I obviously have 2025 here, and then under status at the end of the year I'm gonna write how many books I read in 2025 and then continue it for however many years worth of books I fit into this notebook. So the next page is my 2025 year in books spread. The next several pages are all like year-long tracker spreads, and these are ones that I will repeat every year for however many years I use this notebook. But this one is really just a snapshot look at all of the books that I read in 2025. I printed out all of the covers really small so I can glue them in here, and you can just see everything all in one go. I really like this page because the colors, at least so far, I feel like all of the colors of the book covers that I read have been very cohesive, so they look really good together. You'll also notice that I did kind of establish a little theme for this journal, and I've done it for all of the pages so far, focused on using this really cute font as well as these like starburst shapes, and all of the same colors are used on every page. Next up, I have two more trackers. This page on the right is actually very similar to the last page. This is really just like a table of contents where I am writing the number of books that I read, the title, the author, and then the starting and ending read dates of when I read each of the books. And then on the left side here, I have a stats page. This is one that I saw, I think, on Pinterest that I really liked, and I kind of adapted it. This is a monthly stat tracker where each month of the year, I've included a bunch of different numbered stats for various topics. So you'll see here for each month, I've included the number of books that I read, the number of pages, and the number of chapters, as well as checking off however many of the books that I read were audiobooks, how many were physical books, and then if I acquired them via library, via borrowing them from a friend, or buying them new. That's my little stat tracker. And then the last of my yearly spreads is this little page. This is for my Goodreads achievements. On Goodreads, you can earn like achievement ribbons like this for reading certain books at certain times, or reading a certain number of books in a certain amount of time, and I've unlocked a good number of them so far this year, so this is my place to log them here. I might continue this page onto the next one if I unlock that many more, or I might turn this into a TBR page. I haven't decided yet. And from there, we just go into my 2025 books. So I do dedicate a full page to each book that I read as an entry page. This is my little divider, and I drew this little header to look like a little free library because that is one of my favorite places to acquire books. And then this over here is what one of my entry pages looks like. I always print out the cover of the book and I hand letter the title. Usually I'll try to emulate the font that's on the front of the book, or just do it in my own style. I'll write the author and then give it a rating out of 5 stars. And then I like to include each of these stats about the book. I have the starting and ending dates that I read it, the number of pages and chapters, the format that I read it in, the genre, the release date, and the publisher. I also leave this space at the bottom open. Sometimes I'll write a little review of it, sometimes I will draw a picture, sometimes I'll just write a quote from the book or something that I remember about it. So here's another one of those pages. On this one, I just wanted to draw a picture of one of the characters from Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is this octopus. And we can fast forward to my current page. I've already started this one, I just hadn't printed out the covers for it yet. So before we start doing that, I'm going to show you all the supplies that I use to add an entry into this journal. journal. So of course I have my cute B6 notebook, which is my journal. And then I of course print out the covers of each book. I have to print out 2 of each one just because of the pages that I have in my journal. I have this little one. This is about an inch wide, and these ones go in my year in books page. And then I have these larger versions of the cover for the individual entry page. The other things that I use are a pair of scissors. These are actually the Archer and Olive stationery scissors. I really like these. You'll also need glue or a tape runner or tape. I'm just using an Elmer's glue stick. I also sometimes use tweezers to make sure that I have the placement right. These are the Archer and Olive tweezers. And then I use a pen to write in all of my entries. And then I keep all of the marker colors that I am using in the journal available in case I need them. So these are the 6 that I have been using in this journal. And the last thing that I'll show is this gorgeous bookmark. This is from the Archer and Olive Love Spell subscription box that was from February 2025. And I just love this. These metal bookmarks are so pretty, and I feel like it really matches this journal, so I use it to hold the place of my current entries. Let's get started adding a new entry into my journal. So the first thing that I need to do is cut out all of my book covers. If you don't have access to a printer, also, you can just doodle the covers of the books, or a really fun activity would be to draw in like your own interpretation of the cover of the book. I like to print them out because I feel like it looks like a little Goodreads page, but you can do whatever floats your boat. I actually haven't updated my journal in a while, and I've finished 3 books since then, so I am going to add all 3 of these entries today. I read this book, which was The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulic. I really like that book. I'm a big murder mystery girl. That's like my favorite genre, and this was a classic, really good twist murder mystery that I really enjoyed. That's probably the genre that I read the most of, so sometimes I can find them to be pretty monotonous and predictable, but that one I actually really enjoyed. And then I read Normal People by Sally Rooney. I feel like I'm so late to the Sally Rooney bandwagon, but I really like her. I feel like she has a vibe where it can kind of lean towards like no plot, just vibes type, but I actually kind of like that. I usually don't like books or movies like that, but I don't know, I really enjoy her style of writing. I feel like it's so poignant. Now that I read the book, I'm also really excited to watch the series Normal People that stars Paul Mescal and Daisy Edgar Jones. I feel like I have been hearing people talk about it for so long, but I knew I wanted to read the book first, so I made myself wait. But now that I have finished the book, I am ready to fully engulf myself in the show, and I know the show is going to kill me. And then I read Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. If you haven't heard of this book, it's a memoir by Michelle Zauner, who is a musician. She's the front woman of a band called Japanese Breakfast. I have loved that band for a long time now, and this book is really about her reconnecting with her culture through food after her mom died. And I really enjoyed the book. It was so heavy and so sad, which is why I put off reading it for so long, even though I'm such a big fan of her music. But I finally read it, and I'm glad that I did. Okay, I am going to set one of these aside to do in an Instagram reel, so I'm gonna put that one aside, but I will be adding these 2 into my journal for this video. So the first thing we gotta do is open up the journal, and the first page I'm going to add to is this 2025 year in books spread. So I am going to glue in my covers, and I do glue them in the order in which I read them, so it will be this. And I am just taking a regular glue stick and sticking them down. And like I said, you can take tweezers to hold it and make sure that you can see it, because sometimes like your fingers can get in the way. So there we have that, and smooth it down and do the second one. Grab the tweezers to hold it, and we'll see. Okay, I feel like I might run out of room on this spread. I don't know, I feel like I always read the most books at the beginning of the year, and then I slow down like in the summer and fall, but we'll see. If I fill up all these pages, I'll just add another one wherever I need to in the book. So now we can look at the next page, and I actually already wrote in the titles of these books onto this spread here. I have The Last One at the Wedding, Normal People, and Crying in H Mart. I actually add to this page first, like right when I finish the book, because if I forget, then I might forget to log that book altogether. So I already have those ones written in here. Next up on my Goodreads achievements, I actually don't think I unlocked any new achievements for any of the books that I've just read, so that's okay. But maybe with my next read, I will unlock something else new. And now we can go to my individual log pages. This journal's getting a little bit thick because of the number of things I've glued into it so far, so I'm actually gonna clamp it open like that. This page I already started. I added in some of the stats for The Last One at the Wedding, so I am going to glue in this one and finish this page. And the dot grid of these notebooks really helps to make sure everything is straight and even. And I've been kind of doing a thing on each page where I will pick like one color palette for each page, so it's either pink and orange, or these like light green and dark green, or the light blue and dark blue. So I think this page is going to be the blues because I already started with the light blue here. So I'm going to take my darker blue marker, and I'm starting off by doing the title of the book, and I'm going to try and draw it the same way that it looks on the cover. I would love to hear in the comments what your favorite read of the year so far is in 2025. This book is by far my favorite read so far this year, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This book is insane. It's like grips you so quickly right at the beginning, and it's like a full throttle holding on to your seat every second of the entire book. I read it in like one day. I'm also gonna add in some of those little stars here because they're just cute. And then I am adding in the name of the author. This is by Jason Rekulik. Don't know if that's how his name is actually pronounced, but I assume so. This book I gave 3 stars, so we will do that here. And then usually at this point I would be writing in all of these stats here, but I've already written them. And at the bottom I'm just gonna write a quick little blurb about what I thought about this book. And this is one entry done. So let's add my next one in here. And I'm gonna glue in this cover. I think this page I'm gonna do in the little green color palette because this book cover has some green on it. Lining that up with the edge of the page with the dot grid, smoothing it down. You can tell that my printer is running out of ink. That's fine. So yeah, let's do this one in the green color palette. So these are the 2 green markers I have. I'm gonna draw the title. I'd also love to hear what books you're excited to read this year. If you have any like pending releases that you're really excited about. I'm really excited to read the new book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who wrote Daisy Jones and the Six, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. She just released a new book. It's called Atmosphere, and it's about an astronaut in the 80s. I'm really excited to read that. I already have a hold for it on Libby. And then the other book I'm really excited to read is the sequel to Earl's Trip by Jenny Holiday. I read that last year and I loved it, and I'm pretty sure the sequel is about to come out this summer, or maybe it already has come out. I'm not sure. I have to check. So I would love to hear what's on your TBR. And I'm gonna add in my little stars, of course, because they are cute. Using my pen to write in the author. And now to add my star rating. This one I gave 4 stars on Goodreads. Now I'm grabbing the lighter of my 2 colors that I picked, and I'm gonna draw 8 lines down here. You can also, for this section down here, you can track more or less than these things. You can track whatever you want. If you don't want to do this section, you could just leave this whole page to write a synopsis or a review, whatever you want. Okay, so for my information here, I started reading this book on May 23rd, and I finished it the next day, May 24th, 2025. I tend to be like that. I like go long periods between reading books, and then I'll finish one book in like a day. I don't know why I'm like that, but I just have always been like that with books. For the page count and the chapter count, you can just Google that, or sometimes it'll have it on Goodreads. This book has 304 pages and it has 18 chapters. For the format, I listen to it as an audiobook, and I listen to almost all my audiobooks on Libby, the app. For genre, I feel like this is just fiction, but I'm gonna write contemporary fiction. I think that's probably what I wrote for Conversations with Friends. Yeah, I wrote contemporary fiction, and this is a very similar book, so I'm gonna write that too. And then for the release, this book was originally published on August 28th, 2018. And then for the publisher, this is published in the US by Crown. So there we go. For this one, I don't think I'm gonna write anything. I think I'm gonna draw. I really like their faces on the cover of this, so I might do my own little take on that. Okay, there's my little characters. So that is my entry. So cute. And that is my reading journal. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed checking out my reading journal. If you want to see some more from me on my little corner of the internet, you can follow me on Instagram and on YouTube at Gracie Creates, and on TikTok at Groovy Gracie Creates. And I'll see you next time I'm on the Archer and Olive channel. Bye bye.